Welcome back into that Sean podcast. Got my rocking voice going. Because you know what it is. You know what time it is. It is mock draft time, people. I'm the Big Ush. Here's the Cat Daddy. Cat Daddy, what's on your mind?
I am sad that my Packers are out of the playoffs.
But you know where they're picking.
But I know where they're picking. And it's officially draft season now for me.
All right. Without further ado, we're going to get into it, but we're going to announce something. So, until teams pick a head coach and hire them, we are going to be hiring head coaches and drafting players because we are the GMs. So this is what we're going to do, and it is predictive. So the head coaches that we hire, Cat Daddy, have to be actual predictive head coaches you think the team would actually pick.
That takes fun out of some things. Okay.
You weren't going to make it happen to begin with, and you know it.
We'll see.
You can go ahead and tell the people your dream scenario if you want, because it's not happening.
It's not happening? Alrighty. So Big Ush has got the odd number picks, and I got the even number picks. Now, very early when Black Monday came around and head coaches started losing their jobs, Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss head coach, was a rumor, a speculation for the job in Minnesota. So being the even number of picks in Minnesota at number 12, I was hoping that I'd be able to have Minnesota with Lane Kiffin as our head coach and draft none other than the Matt Corral, who played with Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss these past 2 years, and that would have been the dream scenario, but somebody is already telling me that we're going to ruin at least one part of that plan.
Yes.
I
guarantee it.
Where do you have Lane Kiffin coaching?
I'm not telling that part. Anyways, I also don't envy you. I don't envy you at all.
No, why's that?
With the evens, I've got the odds. I've got the easy head coaching picks.
You do. This isn't fair.
So, without further ado, we're going to get into it. Dun dun dun, whatever the sound is.
No, that's the Sports Center one. No. Nah.
It's like dun 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 or something like that.
Yeah.
Jacksonville's on the clock. Jacksonville's new head coach, Byron Leftwich, is sitting there contemplating what he wants. He knows he's got Trevor Lawrence. He likes he's got Trevor Lawrence. There's some really nice defenders on the board, but Byron Leftwich knows something. He's an offensive head coach. He knows that Trevor Lawrence almost got killed last year. So he's going to get who we have as the best offensive tackle in this draft, which is Ikem Ekwonu out of North Carolina State to anchor that left side.
All right, so that brings me number 2, Detroit Lions. They already have Dan Campbell in place. Detroit does not need to address the quarterback position with how well Jared Goff had played this season. However, right. I'm sure over the next few months, one or more of the quarterbacks will start to gain traction and momentum.
Not to mention, Detroit does have another first-round pick.
Exactly. And at least there could be some momentum for taking a quarterback a little bit higher than what we're probably going to be predicting and mocking here. But for right now, that's not going to be a consideration. That's a while away. But here, Detroit has the ability to draft best available player because, let's face it, they're not just one player away from winning it all or anything.
Right.
They need to take talent where they can get it. And taking one of the best available players happens to be a need for them, the edge position. And they were almost going to miss out on their hometown favorite Aiden Hutchinson because they won in the regular season finale against Green Bay. But with Jacksonville taking Akamakwanu, Detroit is going to stay hometown, and we're going to draft Aiden Hutchinson.
Now, just I didn't say this before. I was actually kind of mad last week because I had this whole pick planned out to take Ikemikwamu and be like that first guy to throw it out there, and then Dane Brugler ruined all my fun and put out a mock draft with Ikem at number 1 overall. I was like, damn you, Dane.
What we need to do is we need to find out what his schedule is, and then we need to get ahead of his schedule. That's what we need to do.
All right, next up, Houston Texans. So they need a head coach also. And there's a perfect guy out there, Brian Flores. They're going to bring him in. Right now, they're not going to be taking a quarterback. They're going to give Davis Mills a look. Davis Mills did enough to, get a second look, especially compared to some of the quarterbacks in this class. But even with that, he looked pretty good last year with the quarterbacks in his class. So instead, Houston has multiple issues everywhere else. So they're just going to take who they feel is the second best player in this entire draft. Probably the player with the biggest upside out of anyone in this draft, and Kayvon Thibodeau, edge rusher out of Oregon.
It's a nice pick. Let's kind of disagree with that one. So next at number 4 would be the New York Jets with Robert Saleh. Now the Jets have 2 top 10 picks. They have number 4 and number 10. So the first one, Robert Saleh's got to focus on the trenches. Do you get a pass rusher? Do you upgrade the offensive line with the tackle to pair with Mekhi Becton? Help protect your franchise quarterback? Now, looking at the first couple of picks, we saw Ikemikwamu go off the board, Aiden Hutchinson, Kayvon Thibodeau. We're really not excited about the edge rusher at 4. Could we take a tackle here? We could. But then we're thinking, all right, secondary, we need some help in cornerback. And we're lucky because this is just a loaded cornerback class. But that secondary, I think, really needs a leader. And that's why I cannot allow the number 1 person on my big board to fall any further. I think Robert Saleh is going to lock down his secondary with Kyle Hamilton being a day 1 starter.
All right. Guess what I'm doing again? I'm picking a head coach once again.
You get all the fun. You get the easy ones. That is so true.
And this is one I don't want to do. So I've got the New York Giants, who have a GM now, but they don't have a head coach. And considering some of their interviewing that they've done, I think they're going to hire Dan Quinn away from the Cowboys to be their head coach. And here's the thing. Even though Dan Quinn's a defensive-minded guy, he understands the value of the trenches. And he's going to pick an offensive tackle here in Evan Neal of Alabama, because he's got to protect this. He's going to have Daniel Jones again, and he's going to have to see what he can get out of him this year.
All right. I like that pick.
You better pick 1 or 2 things for Carolina. This is difficult.
Now, something to keep in mind is after Sam Darnold, Dan Arnold, and C.J. Henderson trades, the Panthers only have 1 draft pick in the first 3 rounds. So here, the Panthers have a choice. Do we admit our mistake of trading for Sam Darnold and exercising the 5th-year option? and we could have our pick of quarterbacks because they're all on the board at this point.
I'd say yes, but that's me.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe they refuse to admit defeat. They go a different direction. Maybe they look forward to that 2023 class a little bit more.
They could.
But in this scenario, Carolina gets their quarterback from UNC, but it's not who you're thinking. The Panthers are going to sign Mitchell Trubisky in free agency to challenge Darnold and eventually take over the starting gig. And one thing that has plagued Carolina is their poor offensive line play over the past couple of years. It's been very unsuccessful. So at number 6, we're taking Charles Cross, Mississippi State.
There you go, a little rope-a-dope there.
You like that swerve I pulled on you?
There you go. All right, next up, we got the New York Giants up again. I've already picked their coach, so technically I'm not picking a coach here. But the Giants, going to go back to those trenches because, you know, Dan Quinn likes that. We're going to take a very versatile player out of Purdue, Mr. George Karlaftis. Boom. Easy pick for them. Easy peasy. You got Atlanta up next. Yuck.
And
I did not want that pick.
I know. I just want to start off by saying how much I hate you at this moment for taking George Karlaftis because I figured I wasn't taking him for Atlanta, no, and I knew you wouldn't be taking him for Denver, so I was really looking for George Karlaftis to fall to number 10 for me for the Jets. That was my master plan. But here we are, and you ruined that for me because I really thought you were going David Njoku here.
Nope,
you and George Karlaftis. Okay. So here I am, number 8. I got Atlanta. And the question is, how much will Matt Ryan's contract affect their draft decision? Now, in this scenario, I have Atlanta keeping Matt Ryan for at least one more season. And at this point, Atlanta's
I think they have to.
Oh, yeah, with contracts.
They're stuck.
Yeah. In the worst way.
So do you draft the heir apparent now, or do you just... Or do you try to make it happen?
We are going to try and make it happen because as much as we want to consider just drafting the entire Georgia defense at one time, it's not allowed. So we're looking at plan B. We're going to go outside the box. We drafted Kyle Pitts number 4 last season, so we're not afraid to reach for playmakers. And we need a wide receiver 1, and you know who my wide receiver 1 is. I love me some Treylon Burks.
Yes, you do.
So, welcome to Atlanta, Treylon Burks.
There you go. Out of the box it is. All right. So, and Sean's going to start getting excited here, actually. I told him something what's going to happen, and he's going to start getting excited because I got Denver up. And this would possibly be a quarterback. You know, this is a prime quarterback range. And there's a certain quarterback that I think Denver would love here. But the problem is, there's another quarterback that I have Denver taking because the Denver Broncos need a head coach. Yes, I'm picking a head coach again. Their head coach, Nathaniel Hackett. Offensive coordinator, Green Bay. Next thing you know, somehow without trading a first-round pick, they get Aaron Rodgers.
And Devontae Adams.
And now they get to pick any other position, which is going to be edge rusher here, and they're going to take David Ajoba.
I like the swerve. I like that.
So now you have the Jets up. No Ajabo. No Karlaftis.
I know.
What are you going to do?
Let's see.
Oh, wait. Charles Cross, Evan Neal, and Ikwamu are off the board also.
Yep. With top 4 edge, top 3 tackles. The trenches are depleted here. I'm not liking this. Let's see. Is there anybody worth taking for edge at this point? I don't think so. We got the big guys off the board. Now, I did mention earlier that we do have a loaded cornerback class that we're working with, and so far there have been no cornerbacks taken.
This is true.
Secondary was a big area of need.
I'm gonna sure that up.
Or do we opt to add an offensive playmaker to help elevate Zach Wilson's game?
And you do also need interior offensive play.
I know.
And there's some good interior guys that are still on the board. One
Alright.
that could also play tackle. Just saying.
I was thinking the other one.
But no, that's what I'm saying. You got both of them up there.
I know. Oh,
Decisions.
I know. If we're going top players on the board, because New York, the Jets are not winning anytime soon, they got to focus on building. So if we're building with Kyle Hamilton, and we're going to build with Tyler Linderbaum, Iowa. I don't care. I don't care if you say it's too early to take a center.
I'm not saying it's too early to take a center. You do you. I'm not saying that at all. Have fun with it. I mean, it's a good pick. He's a smart, solid, smart pick that's got high upside and should be able to come in and do something right away. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I'm trying to be out of the box on this one.
Anyways, moving on to my pick, which is the Washington football team. By the draft, we should know who they are. So we'll see.
Maybe by next week's episode.
Maybe. We'll see how that goes. But I am doing something again out of the box. So let's see. For the Jets, you took who? Linderbaum, right?
Yep.
All right. So after this weekend, watching a particular game, you had Patrick Mahomes and you had Josh Allen. Both, if you look at the pre-draft process, height, weight, speed guys. They weren't considered slam dunks at all. They were being picked for their upside because of their massive ability. Josh Allen in particular, he did not, like, his season did not make it look like a guy who should have been taken that high. So, for the Washington football team, I think they're going to follow in that mindset. And they're going to take a quarterback, or the quarterback, with the highest upside in this entire draft. The most athletic quarterback in terms of arm, speed, everything all put together. And that would be Malik Willis out of Liberty.
Which brings me to Minnesota at number 12.
Are you going to do it?
New GM, new head coach means there are no ties to Kirk Cousins. This secondary needs help, but the secondary is deep, and there's been no cornerbacks taken off the board yet. So speculation has Lane Kiffin coming to Minnesota. Lane Kiffin, you're going to bring Matt Corral with you. Let's go. It happened, yes.
You know what made it happen, right? My Nathaniel Pickett.
Oh, the Hackett, well, yeah.
My Nathaniel Hackett. Yes, my Nathaniel Hackett coaching hired and Aaron Rodgers going over there.
Oh, I've heard a lot of Pickett going to Denver, too. Gaining momentum.
Right. Next up, we have the Cleveland Browns up. Cleveland needs some playmakers, so I'm going to give them a playmaker. It's a guy who's going to be staying home, possibly the most dynamic playmaker in this entire draft. Garrett Wilson going to the Browns.
Staying in state.
Staying in state. You got Baltimore up next.
Alrighty, what do we got with Baltimore? Let's see.
This guy's staring at you right there, who's like a prime Baltimore type pick. But they need corners also. So that just gives you a hint of who I was talking about.
We need
There's three
cornerback.
guys I'm looking at. Three guys I'd be looking at for Baltimore.
Three. Let's see. I got a couple I'm looking at. The offensive line didn't impress me too much. We need help there.
I'd be looking at offensive line. There's one guy in particular on offensive line I'd be looking at.
I think we might be looking at the different guys though.
Maybe.
I have a feeling you'd be looking at Kenyon Green. I have a
Yes.
feeling I'd be looking at Trevor Penning.
Their tackles are fine. It's the interior that was rough.
You sure?
I mean, yes, what's his name was injured off and on, but when healthy, their tackles were fine. The interior was difficult.
And then we need help.
But you know who I'd pick. You know exactly who I'd pick for them.
For this pick, I am going to go with somebody I think would fit the Baltimore secondary pretty well. And that would be Mr. Andrew Booth Jr. from
Nice.
Clemson.
That would have been my second guy I would have picked for them. My first guy would have been Jordan Davis because that just sounds like a Baltimore pick. All right, next up, I've got Philadelphia on one of back-to-back picks, so you got to pick for them next. And here, I'm going to pick a Philly-type pick, which would be Derek Stingley Jr. He is falling in drafts because we do have to discuss the injury history. Now, note, he is going to be available to test, unlike Caleb Farley, but Caleb Farley did fall in last year's draft more so because of injury history and not ability. Now, Derek Stingley Jr. was considered better than Caleb Farley, and his injury history is not as bad. It's more little nicks and stuff, but he hasn't played as much as we'd like. But he's still talented enough where they're going to take him.
All right, pick 16. We're
Philadelphia again.
Philadelphia again. Let's see. We got our cornerback. I mean, we could double down on cornerback. That would be pretty impressive. Let's see. Edge. Do we like edge here?
Also offensive line.
Offensive line. I do like the linebacker position at this point. It's the middle of the first rounds. I've got
It is the sweet spot.
Nakobe Dean. Come on over to Philadelphia.
Ooh, all you Philly fans, the Cat Daddy. That's all I'm saying. Next up, I've got the Los Angeles Chargers, and I'm going to pull a draft day situation here. Offensive line or bust. Trevor Penning, come on down. Trevor Penning out of Iowa, Northern Iowa. That's what it is. Offensive line or bust.
Well, yeah, he could have gone defensive line. He could have seen Jordan Davis come off here, even DeMar Hill.
They lost that game against the Raiders because their right tackle was a turnstile.
It was their backup one. That's true.
And the other guy can't stay healthy. So, hey.
All right. Wow. I got the sucky pick of New Orleans at 18.
You're picking one of two things. Oh,
I got to pick
Head
a
coach.
head coach. Yeah.
head coach.
So, Sean Payton has stepped down from New Orleans.
Cap situation is atrocious.
Oh, it's
so
horrible.
You can't sign a quarterback or any receivers.
I know. Now, the part of the problem is
Might be shedding players.
Sean Payton didn't exactly fully retire. He's just stepping away from the game, so we don't know how long that's going to be. So for right now, New Orleans is going to promote defensive coordinator Dennis Allen to head coach, which allows us to keep Chris Richard in town too, because we're going to promote him from DB coach to defensive coordinator. So we're keeping that intact, but you're right, this cap situation is horrible. We're not going to be able to sign a talented quarterback with this budget because I think we're $70 million over the estimated cap.
Yeah.
and we may have to resort to the draft. Now, it's possible we could keep Jameis Winston for another year, but
Doubtful.
Jameis Winston without Sean Payton, I think, is,
Problematic.
oh, yeah, to say the least. And then if we did that, we need to upgrade wide receivers. Like, it's a shame that New Orleans can only pick one player here. I think for Sean Payton leaving, they should give him like 3 picks. You guys can pick 3 people here. But we can only get one.
There can only be one.
Only be one. Man, and I feel really bad about this too. Because it's like a no-win situation. You get a quarterback, there's no talent. You get a wide receiver, there's no quarterback. Man, I hate to do this to him, but Matt Corral.
Ooh,
If you thought you played bad last year with no talent at UNC, welcome to New Orleans. Sorry,
right.
buddy. I'm going to exit stage left.
You did it to your boy.
I could have done it. I could have gone Kenny Pickett.
You could have. No, wait.
I'm going to stick with
What do you
Sam
mean
Howell.
Matt Corral? You can't give them Matt Corral.
Oh, no, sorry, I meant Sam Howell.
Sam Howell.
Yeah.
You did it to my boy. I was hoping Sam Howell would fall to the Lions at 31.
Come on now.
All right, next up, who we got? I got Philly. So at this point with Philly, we still need offensive line help. Gonna pull the trigger on this stud, Kenyon Green, Texas A&M. Can play inside, can play guard, tackle. Let's do it.
Nice. Like it.
Now you got Pittsburgh up. You pulling the trigger? You doing it?
You know, this whole time I'm thinking, I can't wait until I get the odds next time. These even picks really suck. We're sitting at Pittsburgh.
They
We-
have weapons.
We have nobody to block for those weapons. So, we need to find Ben Roethlisberger's successor because he is not already on the roster.
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna do it? You gonna make the Pittsburgh people happy?
Pittsburgh, we're staying in state 2. We're going Kenny Pickett.
You gonna go Kenny Pickett?
We're going
There you
Kenny
go.
Pickett.
Problem is, I don't think Pittsburgh will pick Kenny Pickett. I think
No.
they'll pick
Carson Strong.
no. See, you're the I hear
like
the
Carson
NFL is
Strong.
higher on Desmond Ritter.
I mean, they know
just-
more than I do. So,
All right, next up, I've got the Patriots. Patriots aren't going to think too long here. They need more weapons. They're going to take Jamison Williams because they believe he's going to be back fully healthy, and they're going to, reunite him with some Mac Jones.
so Michael McCorkle.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
All right. Number 22, Las Vegas Raiders.
This is glaring. Glaring. You have to do this.
Well, I don't know if we're on the same page, but we're thinking John Gruden's
One
been
of
gone
two.
for a
There's
while.
2 guys that have been out there.
Mike Mayock is gone, which means new
Doesn't
head
matter.
coach, new GM in town.
Doesn't
So
matter.
first, I got to pick my head coach.
Oh yeah, true. But a need's a need.
Need is, depends on how we're defining need. All right, for coach, I'm gonna go Jim Harbaugh. Let's get Jim Harbaugh out of Michigan. Because if Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan, I hear that Matt Rule may leave Carolina to go to Michigan.
Really interesting.
Yes, so that would be fun. All right, so we have Jim Harbaugh. And for our pick, last year we took a tackle, but he got moved inside, so we need offensive line help, but really all the good tackles are gone.
That's the thing.
Depending on how we feel about David Carr. No, we like David Carr. We're going to keep David
Carr
Carr.
is good. He's actually good.
We're going to give him another weapon, though, because Hunter Renfrow cannot keep doing this. So we're going to pair the shiftiness of Hunter Renfrow with a big, tall, athletic receiver named Drake London from USC.
Oh, interesting. All right. Next up, we have the Arizona Cardinals. And with what's on the board, Arizona is not going to think too long here. They're going to go with a cornerback. Best cornerback still on the board, in my opinion. And Ahmad Sauce Gardner. And they're going to laugh that one to the bank.
And we have a trade alert.
We'll trade between us. No real trade. It's us basically swapping because the Cowboys are up. And at this moment, it's really interesting the way the board has fell. A lot of Cowboys fans seem to think the Cowboys need offensive line help. I am not as dire on that. I think they need just more, let's say, creative offensive play calling. Now, note with certain receivers being out of the building, I do think they need receiver help. They also could use some defensive line, but I like their defensive line, especially if I have them re-signing Randy Gregory, so I'm not going to go Trevon Walker here. I'm going to go a different direction. Micah Parsons is not a pure linebacker. It's not what you thought you were getting when you were drafting a linebacker that high. Micah Parsons is something more than that. He's a unicorn. He rushes the passer. He does all sorts of other things. So you need another linebacker here. And I'm going to take the number one linebacker in the draft, in my opinion, for the Dallas Cowboys, and Devin Lloyd. A linebacker out of Utah.
Oh, yeah. I haven't been saying the teams. Yikes. At least not all the time.
What's that?
I said I haven't been saying the schools. I'll start to do that. I'll start to do that. So now
I've made that Cowboys defense even better.
Yeah. Yes, you have. All right, so I'm going to take Buffalo at 25. Let's see.
And this is a tough one.
This is.
Interior offensive line would be great, but I mean, they do need interior defensive line or edge, which is on the board.
They do. My first thought was, all right, if we're looking at offense,
because
before
the interior offensive line, you got to go Zion Johnson, which
we're not using a first rounder on Zion.
He could still go. I could take him for somebody.
I would be more inclined to take Darian Kennard at this point than I would with Zion.
I like Johnson more, but okay, I do like Kennard. But who are you taking here? Because I don't think you're taking either.
No, I am not. I mean, Gabriel Davis stepped up in the playoffs, and I think he's going to solidify himself as the number 2 wide receiver for Buffalo, so we don't even have to worry about attacking the offense here. But we're looking at defense. The line needs help. We saw Tre'Davious White get injured, so he's coming off a pretty serious injury.
Corners.
We may not have the cap space to re-sign Levi Wallace. So let me see who's available. And
you got Roger McCreary. You got Trent Duffy.
Kyer Elam.
You got Kyer Elam.
I like him more.
He's fallen a bit though. It's weird that because he's fallen a lot. But you're going Kyer?
We're going Kyer. Out of Florida.
Yes, Florida cornerback Kyer Elam.
All right. So now I got Tennessee at number 26, and the biggest need might be linebacker because Rashawn Evans and Jayon Brown are on expiring contracts, and they didn't look too good.
But do you have a linebacker, another first-round linebacker?
I know.
Taken too?
I know. You spoiled it by taking Devin Lloyd because that would have been a great spot for him.
We also still need corner.
We do. Offensive tackle. I don't.
Interior defensive line.
Outside the box. We're going outside the box. We got Derrick Henry at running back. We have A.J. Brown at wide receiver. Sometimes we have Julio Jones at wide receiver. But was a big area of opportunity was tight end because after Jonnu Smith had
Ooh,
left, we really missed that part of the offense. We couldn't replace it with Anthony Firks or anybody else on the roster on a
is
consistent
there a
basis.
tight end
So
in this draft you like this high?
outside the box, we're going Jalen Weidermeyer, Texas A&M.
Well then.
We're just dropping bombs.
All right, next up I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And should I take a weapon? Should I go offensive line because their offensive line looked a little shaky? Um, or should I go defensive line because they could be losing people? Um, oh, this is a tough one. I'm looking at, let's see, Zion Johnson here. But there's a talent here that I cannot ignore. Inside, outside guy who fits this defense so well. DeMarvin Leal out of Texas A&M, the defensive lineman.
I like that pick.
Green Bay's up.
I was considering DeMarvin Leal for my pick with Green Bay, but in this scenario, Aaron Rodgers is in Denver, so we've got Jordan Love as our quarterback, and if Aaron Rodgers is not in town, I do not expect Devontae Adams to stay in town.
We got
So
two receivers here.
we got to go wide receiver,
Well, you
and
technically got three you could look at because I know you
yeah,
don't like my boy.
I'm gonna go Chris Olave, Ohio State.
All right. So Olave.
And I'm going to cry because this will be the year that Green Bay drafts a wide receiver in the first round when Aaron Rodgers is no longer around. So, blasphemous.
All right, the Cincinnati Bengals are up. And I'm going to say, just like the Cleveland Browns, they're staying in-house. And they're going to take Nicholas Petit-Frere, offensive tackle of Ohio State. They need offensive line help. Joe Burrow's going to get killed if they do not address this.
All right, so I'm sitting Miami number 30. Oh, I get to pick another head coach. Sweet.
Yep.
All right, now in this scenario, for head coach, I want somebody offensive minded because Stephen Ross is committed to Tua. All right, so keeping that in mind, I'm thinking maybe Brian Duvall. Has Brian Duvall been anywhere yet? We
No.
pick him? No. Now, the connection here is Brian Duvall was offensive coordinator in Alabama, I think, during Tua's freshman year. So they have some connection. It wasn't a whole lot. Tua didn't play a whole lot that year, just a couple of games. So I don't know how much Brian Duvall actually likes Tua. And there's a rumor I heard where Brian Duvall is not a fan of Tua's upside.
Oh.
So Brian Duvall is somewhere else. I'm going to go with a who's considered one of the up-and-comers as far as offensive minds.
You're going Kellen Moore, aren't you?
No. No, this guy doesn't play. He doesn't call plays. His head coach does that.
Oh, Brian Bieniemy. Eric Bieniemy.
No.
Not
No.
Eric Bieniemy either.
We're going Mike McDaniel, OC from San Francisco.
Really?
Yes.
I would not, but that's okay.
Because look at what he's done with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah?
And by what he's done, I mean, how does he work the offense around Jimmy Garoppolo and still win ball games?
Yeah, how's the other offensive coordinator that was in San Francisco doing? That's my only thoughts there.
Well, we got
If you're
Mike
gonna pick
McDaniel.
one, I would say Kevin O'Connell. But yes, okay, go ahead.
And then what we could do is protect our guy.
There's nobody there.
There really isn't anybody good.
Not for tackle. You got plenty of interior
No.
guys, but that's what the Dolphins have. It's interior guys.
I know. I could reach on Raymond Bernard, but I don't like the reach. I think I'm going to ignore offense. I'm going to look defense.
All right.
We could use help at.
You could go outside the box here and give us our first running back.
Ooh. If it is Mike McDaniel, we could go running back. But I think we can find a good running back talent from round 2 or round 3. So we're not going to do a Pittsburgh and neglect something else and just take a running back because we want a fun toy to play with. So I think we're going to lose. We're going to lose out on the linebacker talent because the top 2 are off the board.
So you're going edge.
We got to go edge. We're looking at losing Emmanuel Ogbah in the free agency. So let's see who we have for edge. Gone.
Just letting the people know what it looks like right now. Some of the top tier guys. You got Trayvon Walker. You've got Cameron Thomas. You've got Majay Sanders. You got Jermaine Johnson. So, he's keeping somebody in the state of Florida.
Staying in state. We're going Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher, Florida State.
Jermaine Johnson.
He knows how to get to the quarterback.
All right. Next up, I have the Detroit Lions' second pick via the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm just going to say it like this. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a revelation for the Detroit Lions late in the season. At this point, Detroit does not want to take a quarterback. They're going to test out Jared Goff some more. He did not play absolutely atrocious. He did some stupid things.
He did Jared Goff things, right? Nothing better or worse than he did in Los Angeles.
But at the same time, when DeAndre Swift went down, Amon-Ra St. Brown had not showcased himself yet, so it's not all his fault. Here we're going to give him another weapon, something to complement Amon-Ra St. Brown. We're going to give them Jahan Dotson, breaking the hearts of KC fans all over the place.
True story.
What's that?
True story.
Because KC was hoping that Dotson would fall to them at 32.
They were. Man, we got Burks off the board, Olave off the board, Wilson, and Dotson,
and Williams.
Oh, is David Bell worth a first-round pick?
He is, but is he a Chiefs pick?
Yeah. All right. So wide receiver is in need, but I don't like David Bell. Not this team, not this spots.
No.
Because Kansas City plays the speed kills offense.
And George Pickens, again, not their type of wide receiver. Early, way too early for Mechie, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely. So we have a few members of the secondary who are on expiring contracts. So, is there a safety worth taking here? Maybe we can do Daxton Hill. But I have a playmaking cornerback still on the board. And I think that he can step in and be a starter on day one. That's Roger McCreary from Auburn.
There we go. People are going to lose their minds over the fact that we did not have Jordan Davis go in the first round.
That's so true. Oh, man.
Lose their mind.
I know, but the more I think about it, the more I'm starting to like Marvin Leal over Jordan Davis. And
it's versatility. That's what it is.
Jordan Davis is almost limited to running early downs.
I think he gives a little bit more, but the problem is the Marvin Leal can play inside and outside. He can give you he can at least anchor the edge. That's the thing.
Jordan Davis, I mean, he's had lower snap counts. So I'm not that I'm concerned, but he can work on conditioning.
Here's my question.
It's something that's there. It's
Here's a big question on Davis. I think he's going to get drafted higher. But do you think he's really going to be a better pro than his teammate, Devontae Wyatt? That's the thing. Because Wyatt, is a 3-tech at least. Possibly could do the same thing as Leal, just not as well in anchoring the outside. You're not putting Jordan Davis on edge ever.
No, you're not.
He's either a nose tackle or a 1-tech. You're not putting him on 3rd and long. All right. Any other thoughts on the draft, Sean?
I have a feeling all of this is going to change so many times between now and the end of April.
Possibly. There's a big-time draft guy who has Drake London as his number 1 wide receiver and has him going 10 overall.
Wow.
Wow is right.
Okay. Where did I have Drake London going? I had Drake.
22.
Yep, 22 to the Raiders.
After
Looks
I
like
had
we got a
Jameson
steal.
Williams go to New England.
Yeah.
All right, people, that's all she wrote. Let us know what you think. Get us in the comments. Reach out to us. That's Ush Elliott in Instagram and Twitter. The Cat Daddy, Instagram and Twitter. Hate or love our mouth. Let us know.